Dear students, welcome to you. Starting with our first lesson and our chapter in our curriculum, let's start our lesson today. Chapter 1. Support and movement on living organisms. Support is very important for protection and maintaining the shape of living organisms. Support in plants. We will start studying support in plants, and after that, support in man or in human. Support in plants, we have three different shapes in support in plant. Number 1, physiological support. Number 2, structural support, or support due to distribution and position of these systems. Let's start with the physiological support. Physiological support, actually it concerns the cell as a whole, or it deals with the cell as a whole structure. What else about the physiological support? Due to the ability of cells to absorb water by osmosis or internally. And we have also the physiological support helps the cell to swell and become turgid. Become turgid, it's mean what? It's mean to absorb a suitable amount of water. As a result of absorbing a suitable amount of water, the size and pressure of vacuoles increases. I mean the sap vacuoles inside the plant cell. The cell wall also is stretched to the cell to do what? To maintain its shape. Definitely to give the cell its real shape. As a result of all these changes, plant will have a specific shape, and this is the idea of physiological support in the plant. Physiological support also it's not a permanent, or definitely is a temporary. Because of what? Because it depends on the osmotic pressure, and we have here a video to show that in some examples. Let's to show that. This is an experiment to show us that we have dry seed or dry fruit of apricot, and by adding a suitable amount of water, it absorbs a suitable amount of water and becomes turgid and recover and restore its physiological support. And this is the meaning of physiological support in the plant. Is it clear? I need you to observe that the seed or the dry fruit absorbs water to become turgid and to restore its physiological support. What else about the physiological support? Actually, physiological support is easily to lost and gained or to affected by external factors. Simply, if we have a dried seed, for example, like what? Like soaking of a dry seed, as you observed it in the video, in the last video. If you have a dry seed of any seed, okay, whatever, pea, bean, apricot, whatever, or dry fruits, and if you put it in water and leave it for a time, it restores the rigidity, absorb a suitable amount of water, and become turgid. This is the first example. The second example is absolutely contradictory for the first one. Dryness of some herbaceous plants, some plants that live in desert, for example, when they are exposed to drought or evaporation of water to get rid of most of water, they gonna be wilted. Wilted is mean what? To lose their water. And finally, we have another example of turgidity of the guard cells that lead to stomata opening. And actually, I have here a nice video to learn you what does it mean stomata opening and closing. On the lower surface of the leaves of any leaf, we have a very tiny pores that shown in the picture here in the video that controls in when the plant want to get rid of excess water. The plant doing what? Those are called two guard cells. Okay, when the plant want to get rid of excess water or to close it to prevent of getting rid of excess water, those opening, they are called stomata, and they are controller of plant. So the rigidity of the guard cells opening and closing to get rid of excess water, they are considered as an example of physiological support. We have here an important question, give reason for wilting of some plants when they face drought and restoring of their shapes after irrigation, after getting water. Because, just I need you to think, yes, excellent, they lose water by evaporation, or that means what? They lose their physiological support and shapes after irrigation, after getting a certain amount of water, after absorbing water by osmosis pressure and restore their physiological support. And this is a shape of closed stomata and opening stomata. Okay, the right side one, this is opening stomata when the plant wants to get rid of excess water, while on the left side, this is closed stomata when the plant wants to restore the amount or to keep a large amount of water. After that, we have structural or mechanical support. Well, structure, it's mean what? The physiological support, it's not a permanent. Because what? Because it depends on the external factor, presence or absence of water. But on the other hand, structure support, actually, it's something inside the plant happens, okay? Definitely, the changes that happen to the structure of the plant, to leaves, cells, whatever stem any part of the plant, we call it structural or mechanical support. And by the way, this type of structure, it's not temporary because it's permanent. So it increases in the thickness of the cell wall by what? By deposition different substances. Okay, like what? As we said, it's external and permanent, okay, to the whole life of the plant. And the structure support also, it's a very important for the cell. To what? To reduce water loss, to help the cell to be strong, to resist the action of the wind, and also to be erect and flexible. I mean, it doesn't break easily, okay? This meaning of flexible and erect. For examples, we have some substances like chitin, lignin, cerebrin, such as what? Lignin. Lignin, it deposits in xylem vessels. They are vessels or tubes where the water passes through all parts of the plant. Okay, this is xylem. We studied them in the last year. So lignin in xylem vessels for strength and support, and also to become erect. And also chitin in epidermal cells to reduce water loss. Well, epidermal cells, they are cells that cover most of the plant. Most of the meaning of epiderm, it's mean what? Something that cover, type of cells that cover the cell. Okay, so epidermal cells, they are cells that were found on the plant leaves, on the surface of the plant, not inside it. And also we have cellulose in the corners of parenchyma cells for strength and support. And we have a lot of examples such as the deposition of cerebrin in the cork layer that surround the epidermis of some stems of the plant. Yet we have also cork layer acts as an insulator to protect the plant from external environment, as we said, like what? External environment like drought, like a very high temperature or low temperature, and so on. Those are called external environmental factors. Finally, we have an extra example, okay, deposition of cellulose and lignin in sclerenchyma cells for support and help the plant also to be strong and elastic to resist wind or action of the wind. Well, just an extra information for you, the sclerenchyma cells are found in stem, in pericyclic, and they are known as a fiber. And just an extra information for you, okay? Some seeds such as dates, olive, apricot, and so on, and they are called stone cells. Well, we have the different types of skeleton. Different what? Yes, we have a different types of a skeleton. It may be external or it may be internal like us. Again, it may be external or maybe internal. Internal, we call it endo, something in, okay, inside the body. We call it endoskeleton, such as what? Such as human or most of vertebrates. While exo, it means what? That covers the animal from outside, and we call it exoskeleton. For example, in endoskeleton, most of vertebrates like man, and in most of the cases, they are bony. Bony means they made up of bones, okay? They created by Allah by bones. They created from bones. Or it may be cartilaginous. Cartilaginous, we're going to study the cartilage, okay, at the end of this chapter. They are a type of connective tissue. Like what? Like sharkfish. While in human, our skeletal system, we're going to start. Again, we already finished from the first part, which is what? The support in the plant, physiological, structural, and deposition. And support in human, we're going to study it in details. Well, human skeleton consists of bones and cartilages. Bones, most of your body skeleton consists of bones, and some parts that included were made up of cartilage. Well, bones also are connected together by something called joints. Joints, simply any two bones meet each other, okay? The space between them, this area called joint. Function of the human skeletal system. We have a different function, such as what? Like support the body, and also it gives the body its shape. And what else? Yes, protect the important organs inside us, like brain, spinal cord inside neural canal, and also heart and lungs inside your thoracic cavity. And also formation of red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets. Yet, the skeleton plays an important role in the mechanism of respiration, in both mechanisms, inhalation and exhalation. And also as it connected to the skeletal muscles. And what about the helping attain? Attain is mean to restore, to recover the balance of the body, because it's solid, it's made up of bones. Structure of the human skeletal system: axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. We're going to study each part in details. Well, starting with axial skeleton, it consists of skull, vertebral column or backbone, and rib cage or thoracic cage. While the appendicular skeleton consists of three parts only, also upper limbs, lower limbs, and girdles, pectoral and pelvic girdle. Starting with the axial skeleton and vertebral column. Well, before starting vertebral column, we need to know some information about each organ. In each organ, we need to know structure and function and location. Okay? Well, The function of vertebral column, it's what it gives the body its shape. As we said, in general, most of our skeleton, it gives our body its shape, and also protects some important organs like what? Spinal cord, which found inside the neural canal. Its canal or passage the inside the vertebral column, or that formed by the vertebrae, and also help the body to bend and to move in different directions. Not yet, it helps the body to bend and to form blood cells. And also because it's considered as the axis of the skeleton, because all parts of the skeleton are connected and linked tightly to the vertebral column. What about the structure of vertebral column? Well, it consists of 33 vertebrae, and we have here a video to show you the structure of vertebra that have different shapes and size according to their position and their function inside your body and along the vertebral column. We have a table here to show you, well, the vertebra, number of vertebra, and the size. I'm starting with the number. I want to tell you the number. What's the number of each vertebra? Well, we have different 4 types. Again, how many types that we have? Different 4 types. Cervical, they are 7. They are what? 7. And they have a moderate in size. They are what? Moderate in size. They are not very big or not very small, but they're moderate, okay? Medium in size. They are called what? Cervical vertebra. Yes, and by the way, we arranged the type of vertebra from up to down, okay? From superior to inferior in your body, okay? I mean from the skull to the end of the vertebral column. The next type, they are called thoracic vertebra. Well, from its name, thoracic, so they are face what? Yes, they are face the chest cavity or thoracic cavity in front of them. They are 12. They are what? 12 thoracic vertebrae. And they have a bigger size than the cervical vertebra. The third type that we have, lumbar vertebra. Lumbar, it's mean what? They face the abdomen. They face the important organ inside your body. They are 5 lumbar vertebra, and they are the largest vertebra, the biggest vertebra, and they are free support the abdomen. I mean they support the important organ inside your body. The last vertebra, they are called coccygeal. They are called what? Coccygeal vertebra, and they are 4 vertebra, very small and fused. They are small, fused together. This is the vertebral column. We said that we have what? 7, 12, 5, and 4. 7 cervical vertebra, 12 thoracic vertebra, 5 lumbar, the largest vertebra, and finally we have 4 fused, okay, and a small coccygeal vertebra. Our skeleton, 2 main skeleton, appendicular and axial. Axial skull, vertebral column, and thoracic cage. Vertebral column, as you observe it right now, it contains a vertebral canal or neural canal. The upper vertebra, they are called cervical. Their number is what? 7. The next type, they are thoracic. They are 12. The third, lumbar, they are 5, and the last, they are 4 fused coccygeal vertebra. Those are cervical vertebra. Okay, well actually we have here an extra information, but you don't need them. Okay, just I need you to focus on the shape of the cervical vertebra. Okay, and I'll also have a video to show you the shape and the real typical shape of the vertebra, of the lumbar vertebra. Okay, we're going to study it. After the cervical, we have what? Yep, we have 12 thoracic vertebra. And actually, when we go and talk about the thoracic vertebra, they are considered as a part of rib cage. They are a part of thoracic cage. Okay, as you see that, because some people believe that the rib cage it is only the sternum and ribs. No, rib cage consists of sternum, ribs, and also the thoracic vertebrae, as you see in the video. Okay, one. And as we said, the last piece of information that we have here, that we have 5 lumbar vertebra. They are largest vertebrae, and the last one, they are coccygeal vertebra. And this is what, this is the shape of vertebra connected, the thoracic vertebra, which connected to the ribs. Okay, and when we go into study the vertebra, I'll give you more information about it. After that, we need to know the structure of vertebra. Again, we studied what? We studied the vertebral column, and we said it consists of 33 vertebra, and it has a different function. But right now, we're going to study the structure of just one vertebra. Okay? Well, any vertebra consists of what? Well, consists of large part, anterior thick part called centrum. Called what? Centrum. I'm going to show you on a video for it. And the centrum is attached laterally by 2 transverse processes. Okay, I mean 2 protrusions, but laterally. Okay, don't forget it. The centrum is attached posteriorly by what? By a bone. Okay, neural bone. This bone called neural canal. For what? For passage, what? The spinal cord, to protect it. Yes, for passage and protection of a spinal cord. And finally, it's attached by a direct downward bone called neural spine. Again, we have the any vertebra consists of large part, we said it called centrum, and anteriorly and posteriorly attached by what? Anteriorly by the neural canal, and posteriorly by 2 transverse processes. Vertebrae are separated from each other by cartilage. For what? To reduce the friction between them. This is the shape of typical vertebra, and definitely this one is a lumbar. Okay, well, as you see in the picture, it consists of a thick large part called centrum and attached laterally by 2 transverse processes. Okay, and you need to observe them, the right one, right side, and the left side. Okay, they are called what? They are called transverse processes. This means protrusion. And also posteriorly attached by what? We have 2 parts, the neural canal and the neural spine. And I need you to remember always, the neural spine is what? Directed, yes, downward. Okay, directed what? Downward. And by the way, they are all vertebrae, they are separated by each other by something called what? Cartilage. By what? Cartilage. Why? To reduce the friction between them, to protect them from corrosion. To protect them from corrosion. Okay. Well, as you see in the video, this is what? This is a structure of vertebra, consists of centrum and neural canal, neural spine, 2 transverse processes. And they are, yep, did you get it? They are separated by each other, from each other by something called what? Cartilage. To what? To lessen and to reduce the corrosion between them during movement of vertebral column. Okay? The next part, the axial skeleton, which is what? Skull. Yes. Well, again, as we said, when I'm going to give you any information in our lesson, I need you to tell me the structure of it and to ask me about the function and sometime about the location. Well, the skull. What is the function of the skull? It is a bony box to protect what? Well, I need you to remember, as the vertebral column protects the spinal cord, also what? Yes, the skull protects the brain. So the skull is what? Is a bony box to protect the brain. It's a main function, protection of the brain. And we're going to study the structure of the skull. Well, actually, it consists of two main parts. Consists of what? Two main parts.